Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, and today we are going to discuss some advanced Hungarian stuff. And stuff is one of my favorite words because, well, it's just stupid, and that's what I usually like stupid stuff. Anyways, so let's analyze our sentence today. Well, before that, let's just remind you that you can find me in different places. I don't know how advertisement works, I'm a nerd. But apparently, if I talk briefly about this, then we will give people an idea about where to find me. So I'm on Facebook. I usually have this sentence of the day thing that you can enter. It's a contest without a prize, so you can't win anything but, well, maybe experience regarding Hungarian. And of course, I'm on YouTube and a bunch of other stuff. So let's move on. Right, so cleaning. Cleaning is an essential thing in life. It's the necessary evil. Very few people actually love cleaning, but it's, if you don't want to live in filth, then you have no choice. So, in this case, I've got 6 fancy words for you today. And read it out would look like Egész délelőtt takarítottam, de nincs eredménye. So once again, with normal humanly speed, egész délelőtt takarítottam, de nincs eredménye. Which roughly translates to I was cleaning all morning and there is no result. Which is a very dramatic way of saying there was so much filth in there, and you're a disgusting pig, as someone who is the listener of this sentence, and it's just horrible, horrible. But then again, Hungarians love being overdramatic. So let's dive into the grammar stuff in here. I took the liberty of using tiny arrows to just try to map how it would look like if there was any connection between the two languages. As you might remember, I briefly talked about this big language tree we have, where Hungarian has its own separate bush. And in this case, the arrows usually point at endings as opposed to words. So, as you can see, if you try to make sense of English and Hungarian as different languages, you would end up saying, okay, well, English is just a bunch of words that you put right next to each other, and there you go. There is even a structure. In Hungarian, no, as you can see, it's a bit chaotic. So morning refers to the délelőtt, and all refers to egész, which, it's kind of logical, but they are in front of the bloody sentence. In front of the bloody verb. So what would you expect? It's crazy. But just look at it, try to find all the proper words, and let me just move on to the second part of the sentence, especially the word nincs, where you combine 3 English words. There is no. And actually you even combine 2 Hungarian words in there, because nincs is the equivalent of the negation of van, which is to be. So we have a whole new word for the negation. Instead of saying just nem, which is no, van, which is to be, we came up with nincs. So yeah, I know, it's crazy. But have no fear. Let's go on, and it will all make sense eventually in about 20-30 years. So, I think you're aware that there are certain permutations you can do in Hungarian with a sentence. You can sort of mix the expressions or scramble them around, and then you will end up with slightly different meanings. So the first one is our original. It means that the most important thing in there is the morning itself, And then the second one is that, well, there is no result. And then the next one concentrates on the second part as the result, which is probably the most important in this case, is non-existent. So if I had to translate this second sentence, I would go probably with something like, I was cleaning all morning, but the actual result is non-existent. So just think about it. I went from this English sentence to something entirely different just because in Hungarian I used a different order. I know. Right. Third one is the cleaning part is the most important, trying to convey the information that I've made such a huge sacrifice that, and then it has two different versions depending on the previous two endings. So nincs eredménye versus eredménye nincs. I hope that all makes sense. It does make sense in my mind, but that doesn't mean that it makes sense in your world. So yeah, go figure. That is probably one of the biggest challenges in teaching and learning, that I have the information and I have to find a good way to relay that. But yeah, so what I mean is, if you have any questions about all the permutations, feel free to ask. Right, now there are 3 different fun endings featured here. As you imagine that egész, délelőtt, these are proper standalone words, nothing to see there, let's move on. But then takarít is basically something that is in past tense. Of course, there is a little more going on here, and my goal here is not to actually teach you all the things in one go. So let's just say that this is the ending for the past tense. And you can see it on Verbix yourself, and you can look it up and whatnot. Now, the nincs, as I said, is a combination of the nem one, just making sure that I mentioned it again, and then the third one, which is is the possessive. Of course, there is possessive for each person, for I, for you, for he, she, etc. But in this case, I know, because I recognize it, that it's the possessive in third person. So, not much information here. Hopefully, in the next videos, we will stumble upon something excruciatingly crazy. Which, yeah, we probably will. It's not like I have anything planned out, so I wouldn't know. No, at all. Right, now let's look at the individual words, because that's always fun. So, takarítottam, if you want to conjugate it properly in past tense, these are all the persons that you can do it with. So, takarítottam, takarítottál, takarított, takarítottunk, if we are many, takarítottatok, and takarítottunk, which is, again, slightly wrong, because it's supposed to be takarítottak. But then again, it's not like I'm making these mistakes, on purpose, just like in the previous video, just to, find out whether you're paying attention or not. But in this case, it was actually unintentional, because, let's face it, when I list them like this, it's not that I didn't learn Hungarian like this, so it's not easy to actually list out all the things. But then again, in your case, there is not much else you can do. There is a great difference between learning a language as an adult and learning a language, a native language, as a kid. We have so much time as kids. Anyways, so please fix the mistake and let's move on. So, eredménye. As you would expect, like I said before, there is one for each person as the possessive. So these would be the equivalents, obviously, to my or his, her, etc. Just a slightly minor for the record. Obviously, Hungarian doesn't deal with genders when it comes to the third person. So that effectively means that whatever is going on in America, for instance, with the whole 70-something pronouns, in Hungarian we don't understand that. It doesn't make sense to us. Anyways, right. Eredményem, eredményed, eredménye, eredményünk, eredményetek, eredményük. Whether I made a mistake here or not, that's for you to decide. I know it's not much fun when a video actually gives you work, but ultimately, besides having insane fun by listening to me rambling about Hungarian, your ultimate goal, I assume, is to actually put this, whatever we learn here, into practice. And first, the simplest thing you can do is actually try to look it up, try to find the solution, try to find whether there is a mistake in here or not. I'm not gonna say anything. So, just a quick reminder that just like in English, we have the phases of the day or parts of the day or whatever it's called. In Hungarian we call it napszak, which literally means like a sub part or part of the day. And here, of course, as the title, I used the plural because there are many. So let's start up there with hajnal, which is the dawn, and then reggel, which is the morning. Now, as opposed to English, reggel is something that you have around breakfast time, up until 9 or something, and then it becomes délelőtt, which is still in the morning in English, but it literally means before noon, and usually it's just that 3-4 hours from 8 or 9 until noon. And there is noon, dél, and then of course there is délután, which literally translates to afternoon. Good on you, we found the link between the languages. And then there is something called szürkület, which is supposed to be sort of twilight thing where you have almost no light anymore. So like just before sunset, you could even go with sunset as well. And then este, which is the evening, a very short part of the day. And then finally, there is at night, which is éjjel. And there you go. That's all there is to it. And that concludes our video. I don't know why. I thought it would be a good idea to remind you of all these things. But especially the Facebook stuff, from a technical point of view, even though I monitor YouTube stuff, if you ask a question on Facebook, you can actually message me and stuff with this whole Hungarian online thing. I can answer questions, or, which is a bit more fun and more frequent, there is the sentence of the day, where we do similar stuff. It's more translation, and not as detailed as this video, but it's something else. So until next time, where we take a look at another fun sentence, hopefully a little more complicated. Have fun. Don't forget to actually look up the mistakes I made in this video, especially with the verb, and enjoy life and eat a lot of food, because food is very good. That's it. Thanks for watching.